in this computer. Okay, I think we are recording. Hello, everyone. Welcome to, well, it's not a live one, but we are recording this interview via Zoom. Marissa is actually teaching me how to do this. So thanks, Marissa. But this is part of our Mindset Matters season here in the PAMI Code Facebook group. And we are joined today by Marissa O'Neill. Marissa is an award-winning author, heart and soul alchemist, and spiritual guide. She sees the highest and most aligned truth in people and situations and uses this superpower gift to unravel the masks, distortions, and fear within souls. And she's here with us today to share with us her insights into how we gain freedom through embodiment, and also talk about the Lion's Gate energy as well. You know, I'm really quite curious what that is about. So without further ado, Marissa, welcome to our group and welcome to this interview.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
I'm really curious. I know that you have a really fascinating background. Could you tell us a little bit more about what you do and how did you get to where you are now?
Sure. Yeah, I'd be happy to share. So I have a medical background. So right out of college, I was a medical director where I used to manage the healthcare of actors, actresses, professional athletes, and high-level execs. And I thought my career path was to become an orthopedic surgeon. Which is very different to what I do now. And, it's been a long journey, but there was one turning point that I really wanted to share with you and your audience is, I had a skiing accident and I tore some ligaments in my knee. And because I have a background in physical therapy and, orthopedics, I could have actually done my own physical therapy and I could have walked the orthopedic surgeon through my surgery. I had witnessed that many ACL meniscus repairs. But it happened at such an emotionally volatile time in my life where everything had just kind of crumbled and fallen apart. So emotionally, I just didn't feel like I had the strength to go through several months of rehabilitation. And so what ended up happening was a miracle. And I never would have believed it if anyone had told me that it happened to them. So it was I had to experience it for myself. The long version of it, I'm actually offering to your audience as a free gift on my website. It's a chapter written in a best-selling book. But the short version of it is I ended up healing my knee in 45 minutes without touching it.
Wow.
Yeah. And it scared the shit out of me. I didn't want to believe it. Essentially, I had walked to where my friend was fully weight bearing and then turned around in disbelief being wait, how did I just get to my friend? I walked about 10 feet and it was this realization of uh-oh, if that actually is true, because I was literally standing on my leg that I couldn't weight bear an hour earlier. If that is actually true, does that mean that everything in my life that I've learned up until that point is not true, is false, is a lie? I was raised with medicine and science and facts as my sort of guiding light and my center point. And it was well, if this is true, well, what else is true?
Right. So is that the tipping point? Is that where you shifted in terms of your belief system and how you operate now?
Yeah, it became the turning point of being really curious. You know how children, they ask their mom what, mom, why is the sky blue? Right. And they really want to know. So rather than going to school because that was what you're supposed to do, right? Achieve the American dream, go to school, get a good job, et cetera. I then became curious of well, what is the mind-body connection? And how can you actually heal yourself from within? How can I replicate what just miraculously happened to me without an intention? I had no intention to heal my knee. I was just crying and going through all these emotions. So it became this curious journey of studying, and I ended up getting my Reiki master, my master's in psychosomatics, which is the mind-body connection. I'm trained as a medium. I'm a forensic healer. So I've done all these certifications to really understand. And now I use it. So rather than doing like orthopedic surgery, I do what I call psychic surgery. And so I work with women, especially women who have gone through trauma. And I work with them. A lot of women who've gone through trauma have been paralyzed in fear, and they're sort of stuck in that trauma and they can't get out. So like they're just repeating the same patterns over and over again, and they're getting like really frustrated and really like upset. And so I help them unlock and clear those imprints that are stuck in their DNA that keep them paralyzed and stuck, so that they can free themselves, so that they can move forward and create a life that they love.
So is this what you mean by freedom through embodiment?
Yeah. So the freedom through embodiment piece is, and sort of going back to a little bit more of what I do as well, because it applies, is I hold people in like a sacred container, which I call a mentorship. And it's a bit like being reborn, right? So sometimes I hold people like for 9 months, sometimes it's 6 months, sometimes it's 12 months. And it's holding them in the sacred container, and it's really teaching them how to like walk again for the first time, but walk through the world consciously, learning what their unique gifts are, what their soul's purpose on this earth is, and teaching them how to then share that with the world. Right. So the embodiment piece for me is really important, because you can read a book, you can go to a seminar, you can go to a workshop and a retreat and learn new things. But if you don't actually embody new ways of being, the transformation doesn't last. Right. And so that's why I hold people in that container, because I give them small practical nuggets to change in their life, to change the way they show up, to change the way they think, to change their awareness, so that they can show up differently in the safe container, so that over time they can embody a new way of being. And that's the freedom. They're embodying like their own soul's unique essence and gifts.
Right. And does this have any links to your mindset, or to being open to what your mind can actually do for you?
Absolutely. Because it's like anything is possible, right? The mind is very limiting. The mind limits you. The mind puts, we're programmed through society, through our parents, through teachers, through social media, like the outside world. And it's like it puts pressure on us. It puts limitations on us. It wants to keep us small. And so a lot of what I do is teaching people to expand their horizons, to expand their awareness, and to believe that anything is possible, and then move through the world with that belief ingrained in them. Because the universe mirrors your beliefs, mirrors your thoughts, right? You're the actress of your own life. You're the star. And you choose who the actors and actresses are in your life. You choose where it's set. You choose what people say. And it's all a reflection of your beliefs in your head.
Now, my question now, it's a little bit tricky, because there are some people who would embrace all these other possibilities and shift their mindset, but there are those who can get a bit stuck, and hold on to this long-held beliefs that keeps them stuck.
Yeah.
How do you help them?
Well, that's where the psychic surgery comes in, because we can literally go in. There's a reason that they're stuck, and it's usually they're stuck in the past. So they're reliving some memory, belief, or trauma in the past in the present moment, and it's no longer serving them. So it used to, in the past, it may have kept them safe. It may have protected them. It may have served them. But the key is to show someone that it's not true in their current circumstance. And so it's safe to let go of that limiting belief, right? And we can go in and figure out like what age that imprint was imprinted in. We can then clear it, and then we can create a new belief that supports the life that you want to create for yourself.
Yes, that actually resonates well with the other guests that we had in the Mindset Matter season. Sometimes they're just holding on to that belief. Maybe it's within their comfort zone, but even if it's not serving them anymore, they get stuck, and it actually does take another person to help them see it from a different perspective. And this is exactly what you do and help with your clients. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Are there particular techniques that people can use to help them get unstuck with these mindset?
Yeah, I mean, a really simple one that I start people off with, because a lot of people, if you're stuck in the past, usually there's like anxiety or stress that's coming up, right? So a really, really simple technique, and we can do this together if you want, is a breathing exercise. So ideally, I recommend people go out and put their bare feet in the grass on the earth.
Grounding.
Yeah, very grounding. But for you and I right now, like if we're sitting so our feet are flat on the ground, right?
Let me get, oops.
There you
Okay.
go. Okay. So feet flat on the ground, right? You're gonna have sort of an erect spine. I like to close my eyes. You can keep your eyes open or closed, but it's to breathe up in through the bottom of the earth, up through your feet, up through your legs, up through your hips, your spine, your neck, all the way up to the crown of your head. And you're going to hold that breath. It's going to be about a 4-count breath up. You're going to hold that breath at your crown chakra for 4 seconds. And then you're going to exhale loudly for 4 seconds, all the way back down your body, all the way back through the bottoms of your feet into the earth, into the crystalline grid at the base of the earth. You're going to hold that for a 4-count at the bottom, and then you're going to take another deep breath in, up through the crystalline grid at the core of the earth, up through your feet, up through your legs, your torso, your spine, up to your crown. You're going to hold that for a 4-count. And then you're going to exhale loudly, all the way back down your body, through your legs, through your feet, and back into the crystalline core of the earth. And we'll do one more. You're going to take a deep breath in, up through the crystalline grid of the earth, up through your feet, up through your legs, your torso, up to the crown. You're going to hold that for a 4-count. And you're going to exhale loudly, all the way back in, down to the earth. And then just let your breath sort of normalize. And so how do you feel after that?
That's awesome. It feels really cleansing, I have to
Yeah.
say. And it makes you feel grounded, and it relaxes you, puts you in a much better state, I guess. And it's for me as a psychologist, let me go back up. As a health psychologist, this is something that we help our clients with, in terms of what's it's almost like biofeedback. You try to slow down your breathing, slow down your heartbeat, put you in a more relaxed state, because that helps you to be more open to possibilities, and to envision actually what would be good for you. So that was really helpful. Thanks for that.
Yeah. It also, like one client the other day, I asked, because I always ask, like, how do you feel at the end? And she said, she feels like her heart is open. Feels like her mind is clear. Right. And that's exactly what we're looking for, is like presence in the moment. Because if you were worried or stuck in the past, you no longer are, because the breath brings you into this present moment. Right? Clearing your head of the unwanted thoughts, anxiety, stress, whatever it is, opening the heart where new possibilities can emerge.
Right. And it's a really simple exercise. So is it just 3 breaths, or
you can do more?
To...
3 is like kind of, ideally the minimum. If you only have time for 1 breath, great, do 1 breath. It's really whatever works for you. I like the number 3. It's simple on a short sort of interview. If someone's got really high anxiety, I might recommend 10. It just depends, but it's literally, if someone has a lot of anxiety, you want to reprogram your nervous system. So every time someone has anxiety, I recommend they do at least 3 breaths. Yeah. So you're really training your system that it's okay and safe to calm down and to be in the present moment. And sometimes people do that like 10, 15 times a day if they have a lot of anxiety, right?
Yeah, so stay grounded. Keep your feet on the ground. Can you do this standing up, or is it? And then they just have this awareness of you being grounded and being aware of your breath, and staying centered. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I really recommend, like, especially for my clients, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs in wellness industries. And so I usually recommend when they come home after work, before they walk inside their house and see their family, go put their feet barefoot on the grass. breathing just to clear the day, clear the stress of and the pressure of like the company. And then do the breathing exercises. So when she walks into her family, she walks in with an open heart, clear mind, open and ready to like share the love with her family. So it's a little bit of as
Exactly.
well.
That's fantastic. That actually also resonates well with I work with healthcare professionals, and I used to work with very stressed out nurses. And I encourage them that, before they leave the hospital, after their shift, get themselves grounded and take these deep breaths. And as soon as they walk out, it's that's it. You're leave all the stresses. If you've encountered deaths, and what it's like to be to work as a nurse, a lot of stress, leave it behind. But to have that cleansing before you leave the workplace is actually really quite helpful. And we
Yeah.
actually do the same when they start, to find their grounding before they start their work, so they can find their center and focus, and get on with their day, as they come into the hospital. So yeah, that's really fascinating. But Marissa, um, tell me a little bit about the Lionsgate energy. What's going on? What's this all about?
It's a great question. And that's, whether you're aware of any Lionsgate portal or not, most people listening will have felt some intense energy in the last week and a half. The energy right now is designed to really shake people up, to shake people at the roots, and to unroot your biggest wounds. So a lot of people are getting triggered right now, with their career, with their relationships, with their personal life. Like a lot of people are ending relationships. Some are beginning relationships. It's a lot of endings. It's a lot of this no longer serves me. This is no longer in alignment. There's going to be some massive shifts on the planet coming up based on the energy that's been going on this last week and a half. What I would love to share about the energies is, don't get too the grounding and the breathing exercise will really help, because you can feel like it's the end of the world. You can feel like, you're at the end of your rope. You can feel like, if you've been on the healing journey for a while, you can feel like, oh my God, like I've been there, done that. Like, why does this have to keep happening? There's multiple layers of the healing journey, and it's a spiral. And so a lot of people right now, are at various parts of that spiral in the different layers. Some people are at the very sort of end, and it's like, here's your final piece and gift to then move forward. Other people are sort of going through some really intense stuff for the first time. And that's what I really want to share with you guys, is that this is like really, really intense and you haven't experienced this before, you're not alone. A lot of people are going through this right now. The best thing you can do is breathe. Do that breathing exercise. Go put your feet out in nature. Walking in nature is really healing and powerful. So going to the ocean, walking in the forest, barefoot. Know that you will get through this. Know that it isn't the end of the world. Whatever is going through in your life, if you're going through changes or endings or beginnings, I do advise you not to make any like really big decisions until this passes. So like, I wouldn't really recommend like quitting a job or leaving a relationship, like just in this intensity. Be aware of what's coming up and share that, with your partner or your colleagues or whatever it is. Be aware of it, and then also be aware that it's super, super heightened right now.
I'm fascinated. To be perfectly honest with you, I've never heard of this before. Where did this come from, and how long is this a first time? Does it happen in cycles, and how long will this last?
Yeah, so it happens every year. The Lionsgate portal opened on July 26th. And then it peaks on August 8th. The Lionsgate is 8/8. And then it goes through, I don't think it closes until like the 12th or the 13th of August. And the effects will like continue. But essentially what this Lionsgate feels like is it's really preparing us for the energies for 2020. And so it's like we have, I don't know, was it like 5 months left of this year? And so it
Mm.
feels like the universe really wants us to get our lives in alignment, to get really our missions and our life purpose in alignment, so that we can really rise up as a collective in the year 2020. Hopefully we'll have, a new president come to office who, cares about the people and the well-being and the health and education and the future. But it's like 2020 is about the rise of the people, and it's about the people and the light workers stepping up to really change the world. And in order to do that, us light workers like you and I really need to make sure that every area in our life are fully in alignment, right? The people in
Fascinating.
our lives, the people that we work with, people that we're in relationship with, our careers, the impact that we're going to create in 2020 needs to be massive. And so we really need to take a good look at every area of our lives and ask ourselves truthfully and honestly, like, is this working for me? Is this serving my highest truth, my highest purpose and path in this lifetime? Yes or no?
That's
And
really
really,
fascinating. And so you would say not necessarily to make big decisions right now, don't make massive decisions. However, you need to reflect on, whether you are aligned with your purpose. Do you have any strategies to help people? Because some people aren't even aware of what their purpose is. Are there any guide questions or any strategies that will help people to find their purpose, and so they'll know how to align themselves into their purpose?
well, before, like, right now isn't the best time to figure out what your purpose is if you're not aware. Right now is a really good time to be an objective observer. So
Mm.
I was talking to a client about this yesterday. The objective observer sits like above you, right? And so an objective observer in this situation would be observing you and I speaking, observing, how each of us feel, how each of us are interacting. If we were live, like how people are interacting with us. They're observing objectively from a standpoint of like, you're like watching a movie, right? And you're not in it at all. You're not attached to what people say, how people feel, what people do. As a spiritual being having a human experience, sometimes we're attached to, a person or an idea or a job or whatever it is. And this objective observer, so I invite people to have this objective observer in their lives right now with whatever is going on. So when you get triggered, because everyone's getting triggered right now, like, come up here and observe and observe with like a curiosity of like a 3-year-old child, right? Coming back to that blue sky. Mama, why is the sky blue? Observe of like, I wonder why she's feeling like that. I wonder why that's so triggering for her. And really reflect maybe some journaling practices after the trigger happens, from a really curious standpoint of like, what am I making that mean? Where does that come from? Doing a little bit of digging after the fact.
Mm.
But when you're in the trigger, it's just observing it without any judgment and without trying to fix it or change it or control any kind of outcome. Does that
Right.
make
That's fascinating. And again, reflecting back on the other guests during the Mindset Matters season, you all mentioned journaling. This
sense?
is absolutely amazing because yeah, journaling, it actually helps you to reflect, to explore what's going on, to explore your beliefs, and to explore the consequences of what you might be planning. So yeah, journaling is something that you would recommend right now. Breathing and being an objective observer, is that correct? Without
Yeah.
judgment, objective observer to yourself or to the
For
situation,
the whole situation,
the whole
right?
situation.
Because you may be talking to someone and they may be triggering you. So it's observing, what are they saying? How are they saying it? How are you receiving it? Where does it feel in your body, right? It's becoming really aware of everything that's going on.
Right. And then after what date did you say, after the 13th of
So
August?
it peaks on 8/8. It will complete by like the 12th, 13th. Um, yeah. So
And then you can make big decisions after that.
I wouldn't rush into it, right? It's really like, we'll have to see. We haven't hit the peak yet. Some people are still fully in their trigger. Some people are moving through it. It really just depends, but I always teach people, never make any big decisions when you're coming from a place of fear or reaction, right? You always want to make a big decision from a place of love, from a place of empowerment and excitement. So I think that would be a good test of, rather than giving someone a date of like, oh yeah, I can make a big decision on the 14th. No, like you want to make a big decision based out of love and empowerment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Marissa. That was really helpful. Where can people find you, and have you got anything else to share with us?
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, so I have a website, it's www.marissaoneil.com. Sure we can share that in the link below as well. I would love to share, if you're interested in learning more about how I healed my ACL meniscus tear in my knee, I'm offering a free PDF on my gifts and resources page on my website. And again, we can share a link there as well. And I'm also offering this week as a special is a 7-day VIP Lionsgate upgrade. And so again, it's only valid through this Friday, 8/9, the day after it peaks on 8/8. And it's essentially 7 days of support, of energetic support and upgrades. It includes like an hour free session of like psychic surgery, and then 7 days of access to me via WhatsApp messaging to really support the embodiment of a new way of being. So I'd love for that to your audience as well.
I'll leave the links in the description in this video, and hopefully people can reach out and check out your links and reach out to you if they'd like to learn more.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you
Awesome.
so much for having me today. This is wonderful.
Thank you very much. I learned so much today. And then I hope that served whoever's watching this right now. If you sorry, if you can actually relate to what Marissa is saying, feel free to comment in the comments below and reach out to Marissa if you do need that kind of support. Thanks again, Marissa. Appreciate it. Bye for now.
Great night. Thank you.
Bye.